Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target morning brief for today, October 6th. Got a new name in the room. Welcome aboard. I have changed your name to a call sign, and you should be good to go now. Let's go over to the main briefing page. Here we go. First of all, some updates. Thank you for some feedback that I've received across the board about the morning brief. So I'm going with some different things. One of which was hopefully the screen of me just got bigger because people said that was too small. Also, some other things of interest for what we're going to do is tomorrow. I'm going to try to shorten it a little bit. So tomorrow is going to start at 10 minutes after. So that's going to be the kind of the new start time is 8:10 or here in Central Time Zone, 9:10 Eastern Time Zone. And I'm going to cut out a little bit of the standard stuff I've been using for the administrative stuff because that gets a little tedious. I'm going to shorten up the headline review a little bit. And then for the day trading stuff, I'm basically going to present you with my top 5 longs, top 5 shorts if things are setting up. And then we'll go right on into the actual setting up the trades. You don't really need to see the math behind why I picked those unless you guys really get into that. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. You saw in the news, Schwab and TD Ameritrade finalized their deal as far as the merger. Now they're saying 18 to 36 months from now. So if you are sitting in a TD Ameritrade account, you can expect that to stay TD Ameritrade for a while yet before you actually make that transition. But more on that later. All right. Make sure you have your chat window set up correctly. You want panelists and attendees for our new folks there. And make sure you have that up and open. Standard disclaimer is up front now, which this is an educational presentation. I do not know your own personal situation of everybody in the room, so you have to do your own due diligence before you act on anything you hear this morning. All right, let's take a look at our tactical objective or mission objectives. Is going to be our grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Specifically, what we're talking about today is the COVID stimulus. Again, hoping to get a deal this week. There's basically 3 drivers to the market right now. There's COVID stimulus, presidential election, and whether or not we have a vaccine by the end of the year. So those are your big drivers. So that's why I keep talking about those. I do think we see stimulus this week. I think we'll see it to the tune of $1 trillion or so. And I think it's actually necessary and would be healthy for everybody to actually get that. So I am a supporter of just getting a deal done, get something out there. And you'll see in the headlines on who's affected by it. We're also going to talk about special acquisition companies. And those are what you see down here below. Question of the day is going to be, how do I determine the value of a stock? There's a lot of different ways, and sometimes you can't, but I'll talk about that towards the end. For our flow, you can see it there, standard around the world review. We'll talk about some headline stuff. For our long-term investments, we're going to talk about the special acquisition companies, 3 of which have already IPO'd and changed their names. Space, it's Virgin, DraftKings, and Nikola. 2 others have not, so they're pre-IPO phase. And then there's a new ETF out, an index fund that captures all of these. So if you're interested in that, we'll go into our short-term day trading execution. You know, we were down an R on the initial trade we took yesterday. On the long trade, the short trade we were in AMC never did hit either stop on this, throughout the entire day, and it closed basically down 1.5 R, so we made 1.5 R. So overall, a net positive of half an R. Yesterday, for the new people in the room, R means the risk unit, because everybody's different, right? You may be $50, maybe $100, you may be $1,000, whatever it is. But you set your risk unit. There's a bunch of tools on the site if you really want to know more. But our particular strategy is you risk 1 risk unit to make 3. So you're either, if it's $100, you're either out 100 or you're up 300. Or in the case of AMC, like yesterday, we ended up being up 150 in that trade. So that's what I have. Contingencies are standard out there. Reach out if you need some help. Let's go up to TD Ameritrade and take a look at where we have been for the past year. You're looking at the S&P 500 from left to right. And what the big news is, this was yesterday's trading day, pretty much a green day across the board. Exciting, the whole, hey, president's going to get out of Walter Reed. Good news. He's back in charge, even though he's still contagious, running around the White House. But anyhow, here's the aftermarket moves. Here's where he actually did the big filming of Marine One coming in and landing. And then, of course, this was when he and his cronies did the touchdown football dance. when they, anyhow, was bad. Go to Twitter if you want to see it. But then pretty much straight up this morning. So got a lot of momentum going higher going into the trading day. This is the 1 year chart that I meant to have up earlier. 320 to 340 is the channel we've been in. If we break out of 340 higher today, that's going to be pretty good. I will have a presentation out later tonight. It's going to go out over email I got a bunch of stuff from Goldman Sachs on how markets react around elections. It's kind of a deeper dive, so I want to do it in a separate forum for us to take a look at. All right, for earnings today, had a couple pre-market. Wingstop beat earnings, announced a 25% increase in store same store sales. Paychex was out, crushed earnings. And of interest, they crushed earnings, and PayPal for some reason sold off pretty hard this morning. So we'll take a look at those when we get to the day trading. Here's our chart setup. We'll come back to that when we need to. All right, as far as, let me share out to you CNBC. We'll go around the headlines for the day. Here we go. All right, this is Market Watch. Get over to CNBC, refresh here real quick, and then we'll get into the headlines. Okay, little change after Monday's rally, so pretty much flat across the board. NASDAQ down a little bit, and again, no surprising. That's tech names that have all run up kind of big. Let's take a look over at Europe. In the green across the board. Asia, just like yesterday, up pretty much across the board, except for down a little bit there in China. There's our numbers from yesterday. Nice, big, beautiful, rip your face off up day. Went kind of straight up. Bonds, again, getting closer to 0.8%. Pretty exciting. Again, I wouldn't consider this normal until it gets back above 1%. So it's going in the right direction. And then oil back above 40. So, you know, we like the 40 to 60 range. So things are healing nicely in the oil. So slight sell-off in the precious metals market. So again, if you want to take that trade going into the election, I support that, but it's not something I'm actually doing. All right, as far as the headlines, there you go. Return to the White House. Check out the dance on Twitter. It's something. All right, here's another SPAC. We're going to talk about SPACs again, special purpose acquisition companies, also called blank check companies. They can collect money. They have basically 2 years to where they stand something up and say, you don't know what we're going to do with it, but give us some money. And they put people put billions in this, and they have 2 years to buy a company and then re-IPO it, or they have to give the investors all their money back. So needless to say, in this world, you will always find something brilliant to buy because you don't want to give investors money back. So all of the SPACs out there have kind of been on fire, and we'll cover a few here in a minute. All right, the blame game in the political world. There will be more of that. Yeah, this is kind of hanging up the extra $600 of unemployment insurance. Some people are calling a bonus or whatever. That is hanging things up, as well as just mailing checks out. But who really needs it? And I'm looking for the Southwest headline. There it is. No, not a specific headline there, but Southwest this morning sent out to all their employees. We're looking for a 10%. If everybody agrees to a 10% haircut in salary, then we will not have any furloughs. So we'll see if they agree. You know, American and United all in the past week have furloughed, I think, a total of 32,000 people. So that's a lot of people that are out on the, now they all knew it was coming. So they did have some time to prepare for it. That's a lot of people out on the street as far as being furloughed. Because generally that's like a decade before it comes back. All right, Costco got an upgrade. I saw that earlier. Batman and some other movies have all slipped now. The new James Bond movie slipped to April of 21. Batman's all the way slipping to 22. So you're going to see a lot more pain in the big theater space. All right, here's another one that is going to be one of the day trades. We're going to look at BNTX. You know, Pfizer and BioNTech, which is a European firm, have gone in together for a vaccine, and here in the States, they got a bunch of money from the United States tunes of millions. Now they are also getting potentially getting EU money as well. So they're both gapping up on that news. All right, let's talk real quick about special purpose acquisition companies. The middle there, the key takeaway, they blank check, they grab your money, and then they don't have any existing business operations. So they don't do anything. They literally collect money and they look for something to buy. So if you're trying to value that, you have no idea what the valuation should be. All you're really doing is putting your faith in the leadership team that they're going to find something compelling to buy, then do this, buy the ticker and IPO it in order to make some money. These have all done well right after the ticker change, but there are some different scenarios out there past that. There's the 2 years to complete an acquisition or they must return investor funds. So let's take a look at one real quick. Virgin Galactic. This was the SPAC. Again, this was the run up. And then you see the wah-wah. Now, timing was particularly bad, right, because of COVID. But, you know, they had the sell off and basically it has not really recovered too much for space. But when you look at DraftKings, I call it Donkey Kong because it's on like Donkey Kong a lot. But if you look at DraftKings, there you had the SPAC release ticker change going into this area, and then it's now up at around, you know, in the 60s. So really about a 500% growth there. And if you look at another SPAC, which is Nikola, the electric vehicle maker, again, it went from, you know, into the 20s to almost 100 right after release, which was kind of crazy. And then it subsequently sold off hard. And there's a lot more that goes with that story. But the, you know, the big picture is you're not guaranteed to make money in these things, but they all have done pretty well. So let's go over to Schwab and I'll show you those tickers and some others that I do recommend for long-term investing. There's the share. Now we're going over to Street Smart Edge from Schwab. All right. Now, as you look at this screen, we've got upper left space. We already talked about that in the sell-off basically since then. We have DraftKings, which has gone straight up. We've got Nikola, which again has gone from down here at 10 to almost 100 and then sold back off. So pretty momentous move down there as well. As far as those three, those have already gone through the SPAC process and they're out as the IPO. I wouldn't touch Virgin Space at all. I would not touch Donkey Kong's here, DraftKings here. We have it and you're going to hold it, but you don't need to buy more here. Nikola, we have to kind of wait and see. They do have the partnership with GM. They do have the Badger EV truck that is supposedly amazing, and I do believe that it probably will be. But there's a lot more unknowns out there now, so don't know. The two that I would invest in now that we already own across the book, you can put more money in here. The first one is LCA, which is the owner of the Houston Rockets. I always slaughter his name. What is it? Tillman Fertitta, something along those lines. Apologize for slaughtering that if you're listening, sir. The Golden Nugget Online Gaming is what this is going towards. So it's kind of following a similar path that DraftKings did, is we already know the ticker that it's going to, GNOG. We already know the company. It just hasn't made the transition yet. It's supposed to happen in October. It's October. So I'm anxious to see that soon. It did run all the way up to 18 and then basically sold off because they said it was going to happen soon and it hasn't happened. So what is going on? Is it going to happen? That's another, maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll see. If it doesn't happen, this thing will drop like a rock. So be aware if you get into these names, you have to be ready for the event to not take place and how it would affect everybody from there. So, but I do say you can go into LCA if you like. And then CCX is rumored. This is called Churchill Capital 2. They have several of these under Churchill Capital. This is rumored to be the Top Golf IPO. So when you think of kind of perfect business models, IPO is about, Top Golf is about as perfect as you can get as far as making money, as long as we don't have to, we're not stuck at home. But even social distancing, you have your own bays, sort of thing. So I have not been out to it, but I'd imagine it's doing just fine under these conditions. So Pretty excited about that. Again, a good price point if it is Topgolf. Once it's announced that it's going to take a ticker for Topgolf, this thing doubles. That's just literally how these things work. If you want to participate in all of them and you don't want to try to pick the best of breed out, which is kind of my job, the index fund SPAC, SPAK, stood up and it started trading on October 1st. That's this will be its fourth trading day due to the weekend. It now has a charter to where it comes in and picks, buys these, waits for the IPO, and then gets out of them at some point in time. So pretty active, a lot of guessing going on. But again, these guys are the experts and expect them to participate in all the SPACs. They couldn't have SPAQ because that's actually Spartan Energy, which of all things is a SPAC, right? That's also name changing as well. So that's what I have for these blank check companies. Again, why invest in these? Well, it's a lot cheaper than doing a standard IPO where you have to pay off the investment bankers a ton of money. Millions and millions and millions to make this happen for you. You can do this, which is a special purpose acquisition company where you stand up, buy the ticker, and that ticker becomes your company. Or you can do a direct listing like both Palantir and Asana did last week. So there's ways to get the tickers out to the market. All right, let's switch gears. We're going to take a look at the short-term stuff, and this is what I'm going to chop out of tomorrow's presentation and going forward. Is I will have already done all this. I kind of do it anyway, getting my list ready, but this is the part that I will chop out. I do want to put the names here into the chat real quick. So we're looking at BTNX long. Make sure I get the right ticker. BNTX long as the primary this morning. We're looking at Wing long as a secondary, and then we're looking at LOGI short, and we'll talk to those here in a minute. So that's my 1, 2, and 3, unless I change my mind after I'm looking at them. So let's talk about things that are going long. First of all, BNTX will be the first one we take a look at over here on Schwab's screen. So it's at 80, gapping up to 88. So I like that as far as that's right at 10%. Here's our ticker off to the right. So 8.65. We do have the 360,000 shares. We're looking for that over 100,000 shares to make sure we have the liquidity. So that meets it. And the headline associated with it again is the Europe review. So if they get a big contract over there, that's gonna be tons more money for BioNTech. So BNTX meets all our criteria. That'll be our number one long. Next long I'm going to look at is Wingstop. This may not qualify anymore because it's been moving around. So 142 up to 143. That does not qualify. We use 5% minimum. So we will not be using that. We will switch to, put it in the chat, PLL long instead of Wing. Is what you can see there. I did look at PLL earlier. Everything is set up perfectly. So PLL is a lithium company, Piedmont Lithium. They're the ones that partnered with Tesla as their kind of lithium provider. So it's at 34, going up to 37.49. There it is on our big screen. So you have 300,000 shares, 7.5% up. So it's perfectly set up in our window. And zoom in here a little bit. It was recently at over 50, so it does have room to run long. So closed at 34.66, going up to 30. It's sitting at 37.49 right now. So plenty of room to move higher for PLL. So we'll put that as our number 2 instead of Wingstop. Another one out there, and again, PLL's moving because this name is moving. Livent, which is the lithium company, it is going long here as well. 11.29 is where it closed, but it's up at 12.15 already. So again, gapping up. Lots of news coming out of this company. So that's why it is taking PLL as a sympathetic up with it. And then we talked about SPAQ earlier. They are Spartan Energy. They are a SPAC, if you will, so appropriately named. they just announced this morning that they are going to become some other ticker symbol. I can't remember what it was, but they're gapping up with volume 1425 to 1475. Looks like not quite 5%, but it's not our primary anyway. So we'll check that out after the market opens and see if there's a trade there. All right, short. There's only two things on the short side that are of interest at all. And there's LOGI, which is Logitech. And Logitech basically got hit with Apple announced they're no longer going to use them as a supplier. It's a pretty big deal for headphones, mouse, computer mouse, that sort of thing where you may know this name from. So see if there's that article is not out down below, but that's what's going on. So they were up at 80. They're down at 75.47. Do they have room to fall? Yes, because they were down at 71 like a week and a half ago. So I really like this way this chart is set up. The only issue we have is low volume. So we can't take it right at the beginning. We're going to have to wait at least for a minute, 30 seconds. I don't know how long I'm going to wait on this because I'm going to want to hop in on it pretty quick because it's our top short. So as we're talking, it went from 38,000 to 43,000. So in the next 7 minutes, hopefully that gets up closer to 100,000. And that will be our top short. The other one we'll take a look at is AXTI, also has volume issues. AXTI got a downgrade this morning from buy to neutral. So not a super big move, and I have no idea what they do. 655 down to 639. Now this is kind of a beautiful chart for falling off, right? They gapped up. What was that? Gapped up from $5 up to almost touching 7. So a lot of move up in the last week or so. So this one has room to fall. So it's our second choice for short, but it's only got 13,000 shares traded. So if you were going to roll in and pick up 10,000 shares, you'd be in trouble when you have to dump them. So that's our second choice. So for that, I saw a couple names just pop in. Let me grab the chat for you. Know what happened there. So we're done with that. We're going to go up to the top screen anyway. I'm going to grab this out of the chat so you can see that what we're doing for the names. I'm going to copy that and basically repost it. So maybe there we go. All right, everybody should be able to see that. We're going to go BNTX long. We're going to go PLL long and LOGI short as far as the names we're looking at. I'm still off on another screen. I want to check a couple more tabs to see for names that qualify. No, low volume there. So I'll start getting this set up for you guys. So there's the 5 minute on the SPY. I'll set that up last. The one on the left is going to be BNTX. Again, that's always my first choice on the left. In the middle, we're looking at PLL, Piedmont Lithium. Again, this is long, and then the last one will be short. Hey, good for Luckin up at 441. Luckin's been on fire, you know that. Got about $4 yesterday. And then LOGI as far as our short name, and then you can see that there are issues here with the volume. So that's how I have it set up. We'll go to a 1 minute here. The chart is, this is the SPY. So you see the market's moving higher. That should help the longs. All right, 5 minutes to go. I'm going to look at a couple other names off onto a different screen. While you guys set up your tickers for BNTX will be the primary out there. All right. 3 or 4 names that are dropping over 10%. Can't really take those. BNTX 8.4, that works. All right, LTHM up 7%. That's a backup. Again, we'll switch to that if we need to. There's PLLs right at 10% on the move up. So we'd want to take it. If it gets above 39, we can't take that long anymore. It will have moved too far. BNTX, yep, we got CLSK meets our criteria. I'm just going to take a note, CLSK. Put it off in this right-hand screen. This is another long that is set up for us. I do not know what they do. Let's see, what do they do? CLSK, Clean Spark, 250,000 shares going from 1220 up to 1308. It's falling back down to 1286. That is certainly another one we can cycle back to. We're not going to look at it at the open. ALXN. This is another long. This is a biofirm name, ALXN. Biopharma name. Gapping up 5% as well. So we'll come back to that after the market opens if we're not in any other trades. SeaWorld gapping up. That's kind of a surprising one. Okay. All right. Let's get the setup back to where we were. There's our LOGI. Is that it? Yeah. All right. So overall, you see the market over here. The futures are still in the green. NASDAQ's almost in the green by now, too. Welcome, Burner. Thanks for joining us. Hey, in the chat. These are our top three. So we got BNTX long, PLL long, and LOGI short. BNTX headline news for 87. Generally, you would have about an 80-cent stop. We're probably, look at this PLL. I said we can't take it if it goes above 38. Well, or it goes above 39. Look at that move, pre-market. Was that you, Burner? Did you just buy all that? I believe it. Nice. You're probably back out of your own trade if you did that. Things can move pre-market, obviously. If you get, that was 40,000 share move there higher. All right, so stop. We're probably looking at a full $1 stop on BNTX just because the volatility inherent to that. PLL, can't really take it here unless it comes back down. If we need to switch out of PLL, it'll be CLSK that we switch to. We'll do that pretty quick. If we are in PLL, though, it'd have to come all the way down below 39 before we could take it long, and then we'd need probably a 60-cent stop there in PLL, which would be a $1.80 move to the upside to make it worthwhile. All right, and the last one, Logitech short. Not moving a whole lot, so we'll adjust it. But if we can get in with a 40-cent stop or so, that would mean to move a $1.20 to the downside. I think that's very doable. So that's what I'm looking at for a 40-cent. All right, 30 seconds to go. Welcome to the On Time, On Target trade of the day. You got 4 screens in front of you. On the left screen, we have the standard market SPY. You can see that the futures are pretty much in the green, except for the NASDAQ slightly in the red. So we'll keep an eye on which way the market goes at the open. We have BNTX as our top long. Again, that'll be long. We're looking at a $1 stop on that. PLL is a lithium company. It's already kind of run up, so we need to come back below 39 before we take that higher. Otherwise, we're going to switch. And that's a 60-cent stop. And their only short that I have for you today is going to be LOGI, Logitech. We have to wait for it to open and fall before we can take it there. So, all right, this is our primary on the BNTX. Again, looking for it long. Here's some short covering here in Logitech. This one, it's got basically a minute to get back down below 39. If it doesn't, we're not taking it higher. All right, let's set up. Simmer down, BNTX. Let's market screaming higher. I don't like the entry on BNTX, so I'm going to wait. I said this needed to get below 39. It has not yet. This has moved up 40 cents. I like that. We're going to wait for it to sell off a little bit. If you look up top here, this is up 18% now. It was up 10%, so we're gone out of PLL. There's no way to get an entry there. CLSK was our backup. It's not moving nearly as much, so I like that. We need BNTX to come down. There we go. All right. All right, it came down to, so we're going to take it. If it goes higher, go to 87.50. We're waiting for it to bounce up higher at 87.50. And again, we're going long. Going to need a full dollar stop on that. We're going to get a better entry here. We'll go $87 long. So again, looking for it to flip long, and we're going to take it BNTX long. Okay, 86.50 is going to be our entry point. Again, going long. This is all profit taking, so we're not worried about it. Expect a dollar stop. I'm going to shorten it if I can. It looks like we will be able to shorten it. Okay, waiting for it to touch 86.51. There it is. So we are in. So again, this is long. So I'll give you that arrow. 86, if it hits 85.55, we're out. So we're still in, but stop thinking your mind if you don't have it typed in, 85.55. That drop so fast. I'll finish my arrow here. It's a full dollar stop. So we're going long. 85.55 is off the chart, so just have it ready to go though in case it flips us out of it. I do like to set up an LOGI, but I got to stare at this for a second until it chills out. All right, let's come over to LOGI. 76.30, 76.25. I'm just making a note. That's going to be our entry. This is going to be our short. All right, 85.55 is the stop down here. So it is now out. So we are busted out of this trade, down 1R. Make sure you are clean out of that trade. It is not working. All right, we're looking at this short over here. Looks like we're getting a better entry. Don't like that we got busted out of that. We'll leave the red X of shame up there. All right, market's coming in that a little bit. That's going to set up for our short. Need to cover up to 77. So we have to wait for this to come all the way down to 76.40. And then it's going to be a 60-cent stop. So this is where we'll take it. Just making a note for myself. We're not in it yet. And 77 will be the stop if this starts falling like a rock. So again, just making a note for myself. We're waiting for it to come all the way down to 76.40 and then go short. If it flips above 77, I'm not going to take it. We'll be out of it. But if it holds 77 here, then I like it as it comes in. Nope, this one's not going to work, so we're not going to take it. Let's take a look at AXTI, see what kind of setup we have there. All right, AXTI has the volume now. Auto zoom out of this. All right. Remind myself of the track record here. All right. So we are at 609. We're right here. So it does have room to fall another 20 or so. Let's zoom back in. All right. This is going to be a short. We're going to set up at 605. Looking for it to hit 605. And it's going to be a, we'll do 10-cent stop, which is pretty tight, but it's not flopping around a whole lot. So I like that. Again, low of the day right now is 606. So we're waiting for it to crack a new low of the day before we hop in on this trade. There it was, missed the entry though. So 602 is our entry now. So we're in this short. Going up to 612 is our stop. We're going to do a 10-cent stop. So again, this is short. Get the arrow in there so we know which one we're looking at. All right, looking for, we need 30 cents off of this. So 572 is where we're hoping for this to go. Let's see, this is BNTX. We got busted out of this trade. It really didn't go higher at all. So that's why you get out at the 1R points, you maximize, or you minimize your loss. So it's like, okay, if it's not working on you, then you get out. All right, and we're into this trade short, AXTI. This is going to be a slow bleed over the day. Again, we're in it because it's a downgrade headline, so just be patient. We'll surf around in the middle screen here. We'll check out luck, and it's poised to go higher. 29 cents up to 439. Check out the 5-day move in this guy, right? So down below 3, almost to 440. That's what, a 40% plus move. So nice looking chart there, and I anticipate it going higher. Obviously, because we're in it long. We get zoomed in and luck in there. We'll check back on that. All right, our trade over here, we got a nice move R, 1R down, so 592. That's our first R point. Again, we're holding out for 3 Rs, so just waiting for it to continue to sell off. All right, who else do we have to take a look at? BMTX, we did. Let's look at Pfizer. That's the other partner there. Not traveling with BMTX at all. Lithium, LTHM. Yeah, you would have gotten an entry. Boy, that would have been a tough one to wait for that to go all the way up there. So I'm not excited about that. PLL was the other one that we looked at. This one just jumped off the screen at us. So again, this move right here, good on whoever decided that that was the entry point. Basically, that ruled everybody else out from taking it, going higher. And they probably got paid, so good on them. All right, ALXN was another one we're going to take a look at. ALXN, this is a long. And nope, that would not have worked as long at all. And then one, we looked at both of our shorts. All right, we have our trade here. We are up in R in this trade. We busted out of this one. Let's go look at some other things about what's going on in the market. All right, a couple of psychedelic names in the move here up at the top. Well, the top 3 now. Well, Luckin is not a psychedelic, coffee shop, obviously, up 7.7%. Northwest Bio, 3.5%, all right. Brigham Mineral, NVIDIA up a couple percent, FireEye. XLE is even up. That's energy. That has been a tough road to be in, or sector to be in. All right, decent amount of names in the green. Let's switch over to red. Clickstream down a little bit. DraftKings down a little bit. LCA down a little bit. Those two tend to travel together. Asana is down. Let's check on PLTR. Didn't see it in the green. Probably below 9. Oh, look at there it is. Yeah, I think around the 9's the bottom. If you're anxious to buy more of this, I think you can buy it at 9. When you look at the bounce, here's a 9 bounce yesterday. Here's a pre-market 9 bounce pretty much. So I think 9's going to hold. That's if you got it right at 10, that's right at that, basically 10% loss. So if you're looking to buy more PLTR, now is a good time to do it. All right, let's go back to our trade. We'll see how that's doing. Keep this up here while I talk about the question of the day. And I see no from Burner there so that wasn't you doing that. I like it. That's the kind of swing you would take at it, though, I'd imagine. I like it. All right, let's take a look at the question of the day, which is how do you value a company? Well, I am going to bring us down off of the screen sharing down to Google Chrome, and I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. And then we'll check our trades and then go from there. All right, get me out of the way. There's basically 4 elements of stock valuation. So let's skip right to the choice and do the key takeaway. So when you go to buy something, you want it undervalued, right? Because you'd rather buy it cheaper than more expensive. Obviously, when you get sell-offs like we had in March, that's going to be the cheapest you're ever going to get because everything sells off at that point. So when you're fortunate enough, everybody hates the big sell-off, right? But really, it's, that's where we made a ton of money if you were with me through that, through the big sell-off. But price to earnings, it measures the valuation in relation to earnings. And again, all companies should be earning money. That's why you want to become a shareholder of them, and then you benefit from that. So the price isn't related to the earnings. When you think of valuations of companies, price to earnings around 18 to 21 is what the normal ratio you're looking for there. Price to book is if you took all their assets and sold them off, where would they be in relation to a price to book? If it's below 1, meaning the stock price is cheaper than it is to if we took everything and sold it off and paid money out, that's like super cheap. Usually you see a 1 to 3 kind of relationship. Some things are just out of control, like Facebook doesn't have a lot of hard assets. So it's hard to say what would you sell off because it's all people and networks and stuff and data centers. But that's a tough way to value it, but it's something to take a look at. When companies start to go bankrupt or get nearing bankruptcy, that's when you look at price to book. PEG is price to earnings growth. So again, you're looking at not just the PE ratio, but you're looking at the rate of change. So a little bit of calculus there. Rate of change of the PE ratio in relation to growth. So you're looking for about a 1.0 growth would be nice. And then the last one is dividend yield. I don't really value it off of that, but if you are buying something for retirement and it pays, say, a 7% dividend, like we talked about AT&T yesterday, well, guess what? At 7%, you wait, 14 years, and whatever money you paid for that stock, you've already received back in the dividend. So if you're a dividend growth investor, that's how you can justify buying what I would call no growth companies just for that dividend. So again, if you hold whatever the dividend, if it's 5%, you hold the stock for 20 years, well, you've made whatever you paid for it just in dividend alone. And that, so if the stock value isn't zero, you will have made money at that point. So that's just another way to value it. However, what you can't really do is value something that's losing money, like Tesla. Amazon lost money for 19 years and the stock screamed higher. So valuation is kind of tough. When you're getting in on a growth stock, you really can't look at any of these features. You just have to look at the future and say, is this company going to change the future? And if it's yes, then you can buy the stock at almost any price. And because it doesn't matter whether you buy, if you think Tesla is the way of the future, you can buy it at 100, 400, 500, 600. It doesn't matter if it's 8,000 a decade from now. Right. So that's the theory. And that's why these names run up so much. And it can be very confusing and not make sense to, the retail investor at all on what is this. So that's what I have for stock valuation. It's notoriously difficult. Back in Buffett's day, he was able to do this because nobody else was, and people weren't quite getting stupid with running up stocks so much. So that's how he could actually get in there to the value line paper and look for into the financials and look at these four basically indicators. Now you can't really do that as much. You have to temper that with what are the masses thinking about this stock, and if they believe, then the stock will go higher. So, all right, let's check back on our trade, and then I'll close out for the day. And here we are back up to TD Ameritrade. So overall, market's about even. So there's your S&P sitting right at even. And the trade, we busted out of BNTX, so down 1R there. AXTI, we entered here at 602 with a 10-cent stop up to 612. I think that's safe, so we're going to let this just sit all day long. And then we got down to the 1R area, 592. We need 572 to exit. So keep your stops in at 612 and 572. Let it do its thing throughout the day, and I will check back in on the scoreboard tomorrow. I'm trying to come in with a walk-in scenario where I make some announcements and a scoreboard for the day trading first. We'll see. That was some of the feedback I got that I needed to do that. So we'll try to add that up front tomorrow. We'll see if I make it. Otherwise, thank you guys for all the feedback that you've given me, and I hope you enjoy the changes. Again, the first one is start time tomorrow, 8:10 instead of 8 o'clock, or 9:10 if you're Eastern, or do your own math. But 20 minutes prior to the market open, and I'm going to cut out a lot of the analysis of the short-term day trading stuff, and I'm just going to present you with what we're trading because I will have already done the analysis, and I'm not sure anybody cares but me. So that's what I have for you today. Thanks so much for listening in. We will talk to you next time.